Today's episode, we have the opportunity of interviewing Teodora, who is an energy healer and also certified in Akashic record readings.
It was a really interesting podcast today because we talked about Akashic record readings and what that even means. I've heard about it so many times in my life over the years through different practices that I've been involved in, but I never really understood what it was. So it was so wonderful to understand that. And also the power of women and women communities. I mean, we hear about things all over the world about women coming together and the power of the energy behind women being there for each other. But she also leads women's circles. She's just devoted her entire life based on experiences or things that she was going through to basically, I would say, basically spiritual healing. I don't want to give it all away because I find that, you have to listen to the episode to really get into it. But her story's very interesting. How she got into it is very interesting. And what she's done with her gifts is very interesting. And I think the bigger message is, a lot of us are living our lives, feel like disconnected from what we're doing and don't know how to tap into what our purpose is in a way and what we're here for. And she's really done that. And she's given her life and her energy into helping other people, and it's just a beautiful story. So we hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome to the podcast, Teodora.
Teodora, we're so happy to have you on today's episode. Before we start getting into today's topic, which is really how you're an energy healer, we're really going to dive into that. You did mention off camera that you are part of the police force. So we really want to kind of understand how you're a part of two completely different industries. And at the same time, why don't you give our listeners a little bit of a backstory, how you ended up in today's path, and just kind of give your life story, because we're so interested.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yes, basically, I started to work as a police officer when I was 23 years old. And the reason why I was called in that specific domain was because to help people, deep down inside, I wanted to make a difference in society. And it's a job that's very demanding, and it was very hard for me as a woman to start in that field. It's been 18 years that I'm doing that job, and now it's been 8 years that I'm an investigator. And I love it. I love to make a difference, to help people, but it's completely different from where I am now in life. And that's because I started to access my gifts, sorry, through my spirituality. That led me to actually be a energy healer today, as we're talking, and also I am reading the Akashic Records. And the
Were
way
you,
that happened,
sorry,
yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to know, were you always spiritual or did that come at later in life?
When I was very young, I was very connected. I had spirit guides, and I was having experiences like out of body experiences, and I was traveling. So that happened to me when I was very young, around 5. But then my life shifted to a very more rational side, and I was working from my head up. So I disconnected a lot from my heart and from my emotions. And that's because of really trauma that happened in my life after that. And I stayed on that rational path for a very long time, yes, until something happened again to me 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I got divorced, and it was a big step in my life, a big part of my life that changed, and I had to reassess a lot of things, and I had to connect back to myself and to ask myself those really important questions. Who am I really? What am I really seeking in life? How do I want to be happy? What really passionates me? What do I really want to do in my life? And I started to access my spiritual side at that moment. It was 4 or 5 years ago. I started to meditate. I started to do yoga. journaling, reading a lot on spirituality. And I was trying to find my way, you know. I started to go back to church. It wasn't for me, you know. I started to read on different religions until another big event happened in my life 2 years ago, where the father of my children got stage 3 cancer
Oh my.
and left for the hospital for almost a year. Uh, I got my kids full time, and my son at the same time started to have behavior problems, aggressivity, got kicked out of the kindergarten, got kicked out of all the programs that were available for him. I was in survival mode at that moment.
Mhm.
I crumbled, basically. Life, you know, said to me, "Hey, there's something I want to tell you and you're not listening right now, and this is what's going on." So I
Yeah.
had really to stop everything. I had to take a break from work. I had to put all my energy into finding the right resources for my son. Um, and I was alone in all this because I didn't have a lot of family around me. So I started to pray and I started to ask, you know, spirit or God or the divine to help me find my way, basically, to help me find my way because it was too hard and I couldn't do it anymore. I didn't have any strength left. And that's when I was praying for signs, synchronicity, guidance every day. Every day, I'm like, I'm going to listen to the signs. Please show me the way. And one day I met this man after a full moon ceremony. I was attending this full moon ceremony. It was the first time I was attending this type of event. It was October of 2024. Yes. And after this event, this man comes to me, talks to me, and he's like, you know what? I just came back from Peru and I sat with plant medicine and it was the best thing that happened to me. And this place is magical and they really help people with whatever they're going through, you know. And at that point, I really was in a depressed mode, anxious about the outcome of the health of my ex-husband, the health of my child, and I thought, you know what, this is the sign. This is the sign that I was waiting for.
Yeah.
And that was October, and at that moment, I asked him to give me all the information about the center in Peru. And I booked my ticket and I asked my ex-husband, can you keep the kids? I asked my mom, you know, can you help my job or can I take off? Everything opened up for me so easily. It was like crazy.
Mhm.
And I booked the ticket and I left in December. 2 months after, I left for Peru alone. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anything about, you know, the jungle, basically. And I just trusted so much that this was the right path for me. And it was so easy, you know, everything just kind of like flowed. Like I was supposed to, somebody was pushing me from behind, basically. There was a force that was just pushing me and giving
Yeah.
me strength to actually experience this, this in Peru. And in December 2024, I stayed there 2 weeks in the jungle with a shaman. And it was the best experience of my life. I reconnected with myself, and that place they help people heal through plants, and they gave me so many different plants. And I'm not talking only about ayahuasca, okay? Because yes, there were ayahuasca ceremonies over there, and I did attend 5 of them that were completely uh life-changing experiences. But this shaman was also helping people cure whatever was going on inside them with other plants that were not psychedelic plants, you know, trees or plants, different. And I drank so many different plants over there, and they helped me so much with so many things. And I was, to be honest, I was shocked how plants can help you so much.
Yeah.
And how the shaman was telling me, you know, this plant, you know, cures diabetes, and this one
Mhm.
anxiety, and this one epilepsy. And I was, you know, mind blown about all this. I didn't know anything about
Mhm.
all this. Um, what happened for me in Peru really changed my perspective on life. And I came back completely different because the ayahuasca ceremonies allowed me to connect to my essence and to come back into my heart and to understand that I'm spirit. I'm a spirit. I'm a soul in this human 3D body that I'm experiencing this 3D human dimension, and I chose to be here. And I didn't quite understand that before this experience. It kind of really opened my consciousness. The plants also told me, you know what, your purpose here on this planet is to heal people with your hands. I was shocked when I heard that, you know. I'm like, what is this? Where is this message coming from? What does that mean? I'm a police officer. I've been a police officer for 17 years. What does that mean? I need to heal people with my hands, you know? And it took a while for me to process this voice that came to me and told me that. I didn't know. I didn't know what to do with this information there back then
Yeah.
in Peru. But I just trusted that, you know what, if this information came to me, the path will open, because at that point I was just trusting the signs, trusting the divine, you know, guidance. Um, so yeah, so I came back completely changed. I came back centered. I came back with zero anxiety. I came back with a level of energy and high frequency that I was just emanating from me. I was completely changed, completely changed.
I am loving Jan Marini's Luminate Eye Gel. I've been using it for months and it's my favorite product for tackling dark circles, puffiness, and crepiness. It's packed with retinol power, but gentle enough for everyone. And if you're dealing with milia, its gentle formula hydrates without being too rich. You apply it under eyes only and never on the lids. And remember, as with most retinols, there's an acclimation period. So start slowly, like 2 to 3 nights per week, and then gradually increase to every night. I promise you won't be disappointed. If you want to try this product, go to bskinenvie.ca. That's bskinenvie.ca and use code SKINTALKS to get 10% off your first order. I find it so brave. You know, I find the fact that you took this opportunity when, like you said, your life was crumbling underneath you, quite literally. I mean, I listened to your story. When I try to put myself in your position, it's terrifying, right? So to be able to have the courage to get up and go to another country and just basically surrender, right? You're surrendering to whatever is to come. It's very brave, and also to be able to get the messages that you needed to understand where you needed to go in your life. And everything's always a process, right? But I find it also interesting, being a police officer and an investigator is a very cerebral type job, right? To be able to move over to the spiritual path, I find it very interesting, and I can't wait to get to kind of dive more into what that means. And I think, Tash, you wanted to ask the first question.
Well, I wanted to specifically say, because I remember like when you were talking about your story, how you felt like before you went to Peru, before you went to the ceremony, that you felt like you lost all strength. But I think it's actually, there's a lot of strength in being able to surrender and being able to go, like a lot, like I feel like there's a lot of people that don't potentially, they can't like hone in on that strength that brings them to the level of sacrificing everything and going away and doing all of that. So like, I think you had at that time, like you might have felt defeated and like lost and confused and exhausted, but you definitely still had like a full amount of strength to keep going, keep moving, and trying to better your life as well as your kids, and you know, therefore also your ex-husband, you know. So I think it was really, it shows a lot of strength. So I think that's amazing.
It's super brave. It's super brave. Yeah, for sure. And I can just speak from, like, I don't have the same story, but there was a time in my life that I went through something extremely challenging. And I also I made decisions around, like, I went to Bali by myself for a month, you know, so I get that point where you just can't anymore. And there's traumas that happen in life, to be able to escape into another world and tap into healing. It was very powerful for me. So I can't wait to learn more about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and now that I think about it and I talk about it, it's different. The perspective is different, and now I understand when you stop seeking control on your life and on the events that are happening in your life, because at that moment I wanted to control everything. I wanted to make sure that it goes my way, and it wasn't going my way. It was going completely the opposite way. But the control is connected to the ego, and the surrender is connecting to the soul. And now I understand, because I did surrender. At that moment, I did surrender. And when I was in Peru and I was facing, challenges in my ceremonies, I was just surrendering. And I told Spirit, I'm surrendering to whatever you want from me. Show me
Yeah.
the way. Just show me the way. Now I understand that that was the connection with the soul that
Hmm.
happened there,
That's very
you know?
cool. I want to talk specifically about the Akashic Records and what, for somebody who's listening, like even for myself, I have never heard of this before. I have no idea what it is. Can you dive into it a little bit and how you kind of like connected this to your energy healing?
Yeah, I'm gonna continue a little bit the story when I came back from Peru, because it's gonna make sense
Okay, okay.
about the Akashic records that came just a little bit after that. So when I came back from Peru, I was completely shocked about the information again, that I'm supposed to heal people with
Mhm.
my hands, right? Um, and I was just praying again for guidance. And one morning, I decided to just like start to listen some episodes on Gaia, the platform, about spirituality. And I listened to this guy, Beyond Belief, and I saw all the interviews that he did. I think it was over 42 interviews, and it's all about people that have gifts and connected to their gifts, and they bring it back to the world to serve other people. And it's fascinating. But this one woman that I saw on Gaia, and I'm like, when I saw her, my heart, I don't know, there's something that happened in my heart. I'm like, this is my teacher, this is my mentor. I know it's her, and she's an energy healer. She's a world-renowned energy healer. Uh,
What's her name,
and
Teodora? What's her name?
her name is Candace Silvers.
Okay.
She's been interviewed on Gaia many times, and
Mhm.
she's a world-renowned energy healer. She is amazing. She does some really, really um, interesting healings, and she works with the medical community in the United States, which is amazing also, and I wanted to work with her so bad, and it was something visceral inside me. But I'm like, how can I get, a hold of her? So I started to research her and Google her and see if she was training people, and she was training people. So I messaged her. I messaged her team, and I wrote a huge, huge, huge email, about my story and how I ended up, sending this email, which was crazy for me at that moment. I
Yeah.
was just following my instinct, basically. And the thing is, I couldn't afford her. She was way too expensive for me at that moment. I was just coming back from Peru, and my life I wasn't able at that moment to access her. But I wrote that in the email, and I wrote, and when they say, because now I understand stuff differently, and I I I perceive things differently. So now when everything is already written for you, the path is already written for you. Like, we know the path is supposed to go that way. You don't know the path as a person, but the path is already,
Yeah,
made
carved
for
out
you.
for you.
Something
Yeah.
like that. And and I told them, I can't afford Candace right now, but I want to work with her. I know she's my mentor. I feel it deep down inside. And they answered back to me, and they said, we send your letter directly to Candace, and she read your letter, and she wants to sponsor you a part of the training. So that's how I started.
Wow.
I
That's
couldn't
really
I
cool.
couldn't believe it. To be honest, I couldn't believe it. I was crying. I'm like, how is this happening? This is
Hmm.
so crazy. So they sponsored me half of the program for the level 1 training. And that's how I got initiated by Candace, to be able to work with her modality. And her modality, you know, there's a lot of meditation, a lot of connection, with Mother Earth, with spirit. So I started with coming back from Peru with this high frequency already, and very clean in my body because we diet a lot over there. I started to connect with spirit, and I started to understand that there's so much more that we don't see with our eyes, and that we are so powerful as human beings. And, you know, if we're able to think about somebody and that person calls us, or we think about somebody and then we bump into them, or those things, is because we are powerful. We have more powers that we forgot that we have, you know. And
Kind of get lost. I think the power that we have gets lost as we grow up, you know? I think
mhm,
children have it, babies have it, children have it, and then society or the culture that we live in diverts us away from that.
exactly. Exactly. And now in this area that we're living now, I think people are starting to wake up and come back to their powers. I think that's what's going on right now,
That's good.
you know.
Yeah.
So that's a bit what happened to me. And I started to realize that, oh my God, you know, I started after I got initiated, I was giving free healings. I was going on Facebook groups and I was like, you know, I just got initiated with this modality. I'm offering free healings. So I did over 200 free healings for people. I was going to their houses and heal them with whatever was going on their body. Not necessarily telling them I'm gonna heal you, but more like I'm offering, you know, energy work, and, you know, if it's gonna help you, good. If it doesn't do anything, you know, maybe it's not working for you. But I was surprised on the response, because the response was 100% positive, you know.
Yeah.
And that was fascinating also, you know, to see the response on people's ailments. And after that, I was continuing to do a lot of meditation. I started to have a lot of lucid dreams. I started to have out of body experiences again. I started to have messages and guidance from spirit guides. And one day I was going through my emails, and there was this email in my junk box. And I have so many emails in my junk box every day, you know, but this one caught my eye. And I opened that email, and it was saying, I'm giving a 3 days free mentorship on YouTube, how to read your Akashic Records. And it's this woman from Quebec that was giving that for 3 days in a row. And I checked the dates, and I checked her profile and her website, and I'm like, wow, she seems really interesting. And again, I had the same feeling as I had when I met Candace, you know, when I saw Candace on GA for the first time. I got the same feeling. I need to explore this more. I attended her 3 days workshop on YouTube, and on the third day, she guided us on how to open our own Akashic records. I had an experience that again I blew my mind, because I opened my own Akashic records and I connected with my spirit guides, and it felt like I came back home as a soul. That's how I felt. I got insights, I got guidance, I got this feeling that, wow, my soul just connected to a place where it's familiar. I have no idea where it is, what it is, but there's entities there, there's spirit there, there's guidance, there's a lot of love and a lot of compassion and guidance in that place that I can't describe. Right? So it was fascinating. I was crying. I was shocked
Mm-hmm.
about the experience. And I said to myself, "Oh my God, what did I just touched on now? You know, it's there's the healing that were working really well. I'm like, wow, okay. And now I touched on something even bigger, that is guidance from spirit guides. I wanted to explore more again. So I contacted this lady and I wrote a big email again. I'm like, oh my God, this experience was wild, you know, and I wanted to work with her. So I did her training on how to read the Akashic Records. And after that, I completed her training on how to access the Akashic Records for others. And I started to give free Akashic Records readings because I wanted to understand first. I wanted to understand what exactly am I doing here? How can I connect with somebody else with a soul's purpose, you know, with a soul that comes to earth, and why do we have this information? Why do we have access to this information? How can I help people with this information? So I started to give free readings, and they were fascinating because people were blown away and shocked by the information that came to them through me, basically.
Yeah.
um
Can I just ask you something? Because for me, like when I think about the Akashic Records, obviously I've heard about it. I've gone on YouTube and I see it, and you know you can. But my perception is like you go up into a space and it's almost like a library in a way. It's a library and you pull things out of the library. I don't know. Like what is the process of accessing your Akashic records, or like, because I'm trying to understand again, it's like in my head, right?
yeah. So basically the Akashic Records is it's like a virtual computer, let's say, but like okay. So Akash, okay, means ether, like ether, the
Okay.
fifth element. So that's the Akash in Sanskrit. So ether, which is the fifth element, is where everything is. All the information is there, is in the ether. Um, it's also the collective consciousness. But in that collective consciousness where all the information exists, there's a place where you can go and access the Akashic records of somebody. So in that place, basically, is everything related to the soul of that person. The soul of that person, you can go and access family lineage, soul purpose. Why is that person? What did that person came here to do? Her purpose. Everything related to traumas from past lives that came back in this lifetime that we need to assess and clear. Um, so all the information regarding a soul is in the Akashic records. The spirit guides are there too. Everybody has guides, you know. Some of them have more than others, but everybody has guides. Some souls, they come here and they come from they're interplanetary souls. They come from other galaxies, other planets. And they come here, they feel very different because they don't have a lot of incarnation on Earth. So some people question themselves, you know, why do I feel different? Why do I feel like I don't belong here?
Mm-hmm.
We can go and access information on why. We can go and access information on why we have certain beliefs or patterns in our life that are related to soul contracts with other person in other lifetimes. You know, people that are in our close circle in this lifetime. Usually, we have relationships past lives with them, and we understand better why they're here and what's the lesson we need to learn from them. So we can access all kinds of information. It's very vast. Yeah, and the process to access the Akashic, everybody can access their Akashic records. By the way, it's not something that it's just for privileged people or something like that. No, back in the days, I would say that only like only like people special people were able to access the Akashic records. But now with the evolution of our consciousness on Earth, and the Earth is rising her vibration too, everybody can access their Akashic records, you know, and that's the whole point. It's for us to connect to our spirit and to our soul and to understand better who we are as human
Interesting.
beings.
So we can do
The
this with the assistant, like with guidance, let's say, for example, yourself, or can people also just do it themselves once they learn the process of how to go there and how to access that and how to ask questions or allow their mind to be
uh,
free enough to go there?
yes, everybody can access their own records with a process that they have to do for sure. Um, there's many books, you know, like Linda Howe, she's a pioneer. She wrote many books on how to access your Akashic records. You can ask for guidance, like with somebody like me, for sure, that I can guide you on how to do it. Or if you don't feel like doing all that, because it demands a lot, also, you
Mm.
know, it's a process. You can get your records read by someone else, you know, somebody that can access it for you. It's always with permission when we access someone else's records. And we do a special prayer, a special pathway prayer. So the words that we're using to access the records, I have a specific vibration that opens this portal of information, let's say.
Hmm.
Um,
So interesting because it's something that is so, I don't think it's not a mainstream activity, right? It's not like going to the gym or you're going to work or whatever, and it's tapping into areas that I think a lot of people have fear around, maybe. But I
yes.
do think that I think the conversation that we're having today is a very good timing of conversation because I feel that what's going on in the world right now today, and I mean we always have disruptions. It's part of the evolution, right, of humanity and everything. But particularly now, I think there's a lot of anxious vibrations that are happening in the world somehow
Yeah.
politically, economically, all of the things that are happening, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, I think it's very disruptive for people because I can even see in my own circles with girlfriends and stuff, the energy is not it's not really the energy is off. Let's just say that. I don't know if it's good or bad. I can't like distinguish that. It's different, and I feel people are walking around heavy. So these kinds of tools or things that people can do through meditation and journaling and tapping into their spirituality essentially could be very helpful at this time for a lot of people. I wanted to ask you when you do these types of energy healing with reading people's Akashic records and so forth. Do you notice a change in people? What kind of feedback have people given you following like sessions? And is it something that you do weekly, monthly, daily? How can people explore it if they are new to this kind of energy healing?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and it's very different for everybody. But what I've noticed, because it's been a year that I'm working as an energy healer, and I read the Akashic records, and what I've noticed is that something shifts in people. So no matter what's the reason why the person came to me, and when a person comes to me is because she needs to have this modality brought to her, you know, there's a reason always when somebody comes to me for this type of this type of healing. What I've noticed is that no matter what's the reason, there's always something that shifts in their life, and that's the beauty about working with this energy. It's because this energy is here for us. You know, I'm not doing anything. It's coming through me. And that's the beauty, is that I know and I trust that this energy that comes through me, then I actually cultivate every day, because I do meditate every day for that energy to be able to come through me. Um, something shifts in people, whether it's something physical that they have, or there's something in their life that they're going through, or it's the vibration. It's because there's a calibration that happens, basically. Um, when I connect with this energy, whether it's when I read the Akashic records, or when I touch somebody, when I do uh, a healing, there's a calibration that happens energetically, and something shifts. And when I didn't know that at the beginning, right? Because I'm just doing what I'm doing. And usually people come back and they tell me, they give me feedback. And then they're telling me, you know what happened to me? Since I met you, this happened to me, or this change in my life, or I access this thing, or I don't have this, headache anymore, or I don't have this infection anymore that I was carrying for 8 years. I have some testimonies that are just
Crazy.
crazy, and I can't I can't put them on, and I can't really talk about it because some people are not ready for that
Yeah.
yet, and I can't take the credit for it either because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not. So these stories that people come and give me afterwards are pretty fascinating and interesting and very, very um they warm my heart, because I understand what's my purpose here on planet Earth. And if I can change people's life in a good way, in a better way, uh, then I accomplished my mission.
I've been using the SkinCeuticals PTOX for a couple of weeks now, and I have to say I'm obsessed. This product is a needle-free anti-wrinkle peptide serum that visibly reduces 9 types of expression lines and reveals glass skin radiance. It's a great product to start using when you're not quite ready for injections, or like me, it's the perfect complementary product to use in conjunction with my Botox sessions to maximize wrinkle correction. I even have a couple of friends who have been using the product and have noticed change in their skin texture and any deep wrinkles they may have. You have to try it. Trust me on this. If you want to try the product, go to bskinenvie.ca. That's BSKINENVIE.ca and use code SkinTalks to get 10% off your next order. I want to know, because like I think there's different modalities for energy healing. Like it's Reiki, like is that a part of an energy healing modality? It's just like a different thing because I remember like it's energy healing with your hands. So that's all, is
Mm.
that something also that you do, or are you just focused on the Akashic records? Like what's it called?
The Akashic Records, yeah. The modality that I'm using, the Candace Silver's modality, is not Reiki.
Okay.
I have to say it's more powerful than Reiki, although I don't, dismiss Reiki. Reiki is a great, great modality also, but it's more specific. The modality that I'm using is basically I touch 80 points on the body along the meridians. In my hands, I have positive energy. And when I touch, and I don't touch hard, but when I touch these points, if there's a block, a negative block, we say, something that is stuck in the body, the person's gonna feel uncomfortable when I touch them. So I start at the feet and I go all the way up on the body, all the way up to the head, and I touch 80 points. If there's a point that the person feels uncomfortable, I would clear it energetically and I would retest. What's amazing about this is that it's direct experience. The person really feels the difference in the touch, in the first touch and the second touch after I clear that negative block that is stuck in the body. And
Amazing.
there's different reasons why the blocks are stuck in the body, but we do stuck everything in the body.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
yeah.
And like, is one session, like, let's say somebody's coming to you, is one session sort of enough, or is it something that you recommend? I'm obviously it's different for every person and depending on like their healing journey and like what they looking for. I'm sure there's different, but is it like, can I come to you and just have one treatment and be in quotations healed, let's say, like, or do I need more sessions?
Uh, Most of the people, they come 1 to 3 times to
Okay.
see me. I have people that come every week that I have like regular clients that really feel a difference. Some people, suffer from insomnia or stuff like that, and they feel like they feel better after the treatment, and they want to continue that. Some people feel so good right after one session, and they don't feel the need to come back, but they usually come. A lot of people, do one session, and after 2 3 months they feel like they want another one.
Okay.
But it's depending on the elements also of the person, whatever that person wants to work on.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. And you also mentioned,
Yeah.
sorry, B, did
Go
you
ahead.
want to go ahead?
No, no, no. It's I just find it so interesting. I love conversations that explore things that are a little bit different than what,
Yeah. Than what we're used
people
to.
are used to, you know?
Definitely. I kind of want to get into this whole like women's circle, and the reason why I
Yeah.
know about this is because you got into this, or you said you attended one of Teodora's
I,
women's circle ceremonies or experiences.
yeah.
So what is that? And like, why did you get into that? Like, why did you start that?
Um, when I was searching for answers
Hmm.
and wanted to heal myself from my traumas, I did a lot of different things. And one thing that I was doing was attending women's circles without really knowing what I was doing there. The first time I went there, I was like, what am I doing here? Didn't quite understand why I was there, but I was there. And what I realized is that they're so powerful. They're a powerful healing modality because uh, I felt when I was there to heal myself that I got permission to talk about what I was going through.
Hmm.
And that's because other people were talking and I could relate to what they were saying. And I'm like, wow, if she has the courage to talk about it, I have the courage to talk about it. And what happened is that when I talked about it, other women were like, wow, I inspired others to talk about what they were going through. And it created like a domino effect. And everybody was, sharing their whatever they were going through. And when you speak about it, it's like when you write about it. So that's why we say journaling is so healing because we purge. So we purge when we write, but we purge when we speak also. Everything is energy. So when we're able to talk, it gets out of us. We don't need it anymore. Um, and these women's circles, it's a place where it's very safe because there's no judgment. Nobody's there to judge you. Everybody's going through their own things. Um, you don't feel like you need to justify yourself. It's not people that are close to you that can actually, judge you in a certain way, or maybe some people don't have, the support system to talk about stuff. And it was so healing for me, and I didn't expect that. But when I realized, wow, this is really, really, really healing, um, I decided to facilitate them. It's actually something that came as a guidance again. One day I dreamt about it, and the voice told me, "You need to facilitate women's circles." And now that I always listen to this guidance, I don't know where it comes from, but I think maybe it's my higher self. I'm not sure, but I always listen to this guidance now. And they told me, "You need to facilitate women's circles. We need that. People need that. Women need that." And I started to do that. Not too long ago. I think I started in December. Um, and yeah, and it's going great. And the purpose of that is to build community.
Yeah.
The purpose of that is to allow women to share whatever they're going through in a safe environment. I always, do a little meditation or a little breath work, and then I open the space for women to share whatever they have to share, and when women are there and they cry and they talk about it and they get it out of their system, they leave lighter. They feel lighter. I see their faces. I see how I see how they are when they come in, and I see how they are when they leave, and it's completely different. And that's the purpose. That's why I'm doing this.
Yeah, it's pretty
You know.
amazing.
Yeah, and I have to say, having attended a couple of them in my life, which is something newer for me, and my personality is not such that I go into a space where I feel very comfortable to express myself. It's not something that comes naturally to me. I'm more reserved and more like somebody who keeps those things to myself, or I choose who I share things with. But it really opened my eyes to the power that women have with each other, and not necessarily in friendships. It's just women sitting around in a circle together. I was really literally blown away at some of the things that people shared, because you see everybody, everybody's just trying to live their life and trying to do the best that they can. And, one thing that really struck me was the struggle that so many women have in their life with having families and balancing their family with career, with their relationship with their partner, with so many things. And, it's not something that we have given ourselves permission to talk about. It's not easy to balance all of that. And a lot of women, I found what was so interesting, are not, we are told as women, when you have a child, you just fall into motherhood like it's nothing, right? But it's not true. It's very difficult for very many women to become mothers and to be expected to play the role of a mother when it doesn't come naturally to them. They don't have it instinctually, but there's shame associated with so much around that. And that was the one thing for me that I was like, oh my gosh, it's giving people or women a space to feel comfortable to express themselves and how they just don't feel like they fit into what society has kind of pigeonholed their role to be through culture somehow, and it's liberating. I could see also the relief that people had to be able to say, what I'm going to say right now is completely taboo, or, I can't talk to anybody else about this, how I feel about this, but I feel safe in the space to talk about it. And I could just feel my own heart opening up to other women and being like, you know what? Say what you have to say, like no judgment, no nothing, just be able to express yourself. I find it exceptionally brave, but also very light and liberating also. And to be able to be a woman in that space, even if I'm not somebody who talks a lot, I feel like I could support the space through just being present in it. And I thought it was very powerful. It left me feeling really good, and wanting to do it again. And eventually, maybe I'll get to the point where I'm going to feel more comfortable to talk about my own personal experiences and traumas and stuff like that without, again, imposing this, like nobody wants to hear my stuff, like that's also a judgment that we place on ourselves. But it was really a beautiful experience, and to witness women being able to express themselves and the suffering that they have in their own world in a safe environment. It was really lovely. I would highly recommend, if you haven't attended a women's circle in your life, to just do it. Just go and do it if you can find a place. It's a really incredible experience if you open up yourself to just accept whatever happens in that space,
Yeah, absolutely. It gives permission to women to talk about stuff that normally we hide our little secrets, because we feel like we don't want to disturb, we don't want to bother, or it's taboo, or nobody wants to hear what we have to say. We don't want to bother anyone. And when we start to open up and we see that, oh my God, I'm not the only one struggling with this, or oh my God, this woman is living something that's very difficult and she has nobody to talk about it. And this is the safe space that she found. And for me, it's very rewarding to be able to facilitate those circles. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um,
Go ahead, Tash.
no, no, it's okay.
No, I just wanted to ask, like, for somebody who's new to all of this and is saying, we kind of get to our wits' end and realize we have to do something, or we can see it in the future that we're going to have to do something. What would be something that you could propose to somebody who's new, as a powerful kind of daily ritual that they could bring into their life to be able to have that higher vibration, or to move into that higher vibration in their life?
So I can speak about what I'm doing daily, my practice. It's something that really helped me a lot. So when I wake up in the morning, before getting out of bed, I always, uh, I always thank Spirit for the day ahead of me. I always thank Spirit for what I have in my life. So it's gratitude for what I have and for whatever is going to enter my life. I also what I also meditate, the meditation. I take 10 minutes in the morning. I always wake up before my kids, so I have that little moment for myself, but it's so rewarding because taking just 10 minutes to ground yourself and to stay in silence, it's very hard because we have this monkey mind, it's like, okay, what do I have to do today? And it starts, in the morning, not opening your phone in the morning. Take 10 minutes to ground yourself, to meditate, to stay in silence. At the beginning, it's very challenging. It's very challenging. And when you start, you don't have to do 10 minutes. You can start with 2 minutes. And if you're able to do 2 minutes without, thinking about anything, or your mind is racing, then you go up to 3 to 4 to 5, and you go up to 10. If you're good with 10, you go to 15. Ideally, 20 minutes, 10 in the morning, 10 at night would be great to ground yourself and stay in silence. Practice, like I said, gratitude every day. Journaling if you don't have time every day, at least in the weekend, once a week. Come back on the things that you did that week, what went right, what went wrong, how can you improve, the things that you're not satisfied with in your life, with concrete actions. When you write concrete actions on a paper, they manifest faster, so yeah, that's what I was suggesting to people when they want to start.
So just baby steps, basically starting with something and building from there. So we always talk about habit stacking. It's kind of like building things in to your life and not trying to do it all at the same time. So just when you talk about grounding yourself and giving yourself that 2 minutes in the morning, is this something where you sit on the floor? Can you sit in your bed, lie in your bed? What do you suggest for people who are new to this?
I suggest either sitting on the floor. You can have a little cushion under you if you want, but sitting on the floor, or sitting on a chair and have your feet on the ground. That would be my suggestion when you do grounding meditation. And if you can visualize, roots coming out of your sit bones or your feet going into Mother Earth, it's even better if you can have that visualization, because you are cleaning and cleansing yourself from any worries or anything that is not disturbing you, and you're sending it through the roots and Mother Earth. That's a good grounding practice.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, this is so interesting, and it's definitely would like to book an Akashic Records reading with you. So, and I'm sure there'll be other people who are, listening to your story and what you do, and that will be interested as well. So we're going to link all of your information in the show notes so that people can, because you also do this virtually, right? You can do a lot of things if people aren't necessarily close to you. You can do it virtually.
Exactly. I do the energy healing virtually. This again is something that I work in a dimension that's a bit higher. So we're not in the 3D dimension, we're in the fifth dimension. And now I'm getting more technical, but the energy travels through space. I don't need to be next to you or touch you for that. And the person also feels it on the other side of the screen, wherever they are in the world. I work with people all over the world. They can feel my energy working in their body. And it's pretty fascinating too. So yes, I do that virtually, and readings also, I do it in person and virtually via Zoom. So I see the person, we talk, and I connect with the person, and I do it via Zoom. Yeah.
Amazing.
That's so interesting, Tash. Maybe because you talked about having trouble sleeping, that you need to also see Teodora.
Yeah, maybe I need to.
Thank you so much for your time
Thank
today.
you.
I mean, I learned some things and you've piqued my curiosity, because I think personally, for me, I've been on a path where you can call it a journey. I always don't like using the word journey because it's assuming there's a destination that you need to get to. And I don't think that is the right way to express it. But you've piqued my curiosity to be able to continue the path that I've been exploring already for many years in my life, but now more profoundly. So thank you for that, and thank you for sharing. And we really appreciate the time that you gave us.
Yes, thank you so much.
It's my very pleasure, and I'm so grateful to be part of your podcast and to share this information with the world.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please take a moment to rate, review, and follow us on social at Skin Talks Pod. We'll see you next week.